It's basically the website, my website. Okay, good. I got a thumbs up from Mia. Thanks, Mia. Okay, so I'll be talking about that. So basically today we're going to go through a few things here. So basically, as you see here, job training, attendance certificate, these are the items I'm going to cover. I'm going to go through all these items, and I'll cover them one by one so that it gives you basic information. I'm not going to cover too much about COVID-19 procedures. We're going to do that next week when I take on the people that will be starting on the first day. So I'll be doing a Zoom meeting with those people, and they will be getting an in-depth COVID-19 training, okay? So I'm going to start with this typical handout that I hand out every year. Very basic, very similar every year, with just a few changes. And basically it gives you general information, who you work for, why do we detassel, what's required of you, what's the pay rate, and things like that, okay? So again, I'm sure that all of you have been on the website. That's where you're registered. That was at www.corndetasseling.ca, and from there, all the information is on the website so that you'll get a great idea, especially if you go through the videos that are there, you're able to see what the detasseling job requires, okay? Why do we detassel? To answer that question, what I like to do is play a little video for you guys. The video is on the website, but if you've been there, then you've seen it, and it's in here where it's got informational videos. They're all there, and the very first one is why and how we detassel. Okay, so I'll play that for you. That's the purpose of our job, is to create a seed that comes from two different corn plants. That's the whole concept. So we want a seed that comes from two different plants. That makes it a hybrid seed. It makes it the best seed available so far. Okay, so here we go. Give me a thumbs up if you can see the video okay, and if you can hear it.
Detasseling has long been a part of the corn world. Detasseling helps to enable seed corn to produce the highest quality of seed possible through cross-pollination. Corn plants naturally have both male and female characteristics. If the corn plant is left alone, it will self-pollinate. The tassel will release pollen onto its own silks. When this happens, the corn plant produces kernels that cannot be used as seed. Detasseling is simply the act of removing the tassel from the top of the corn plant. By removing the tassel, the plant is dead.
Okay, so there you see that there are two different types of corn in the cornfield. There's a female and there's a male. And all those are is two different types of corn. So that we take what's been designated as the female, we take the tassel off it so it doesn't pollinate itself, and we let the male stay with the tassel so it can pollinate the females. Now, the whole trick is when we detassel this female, we have to get 99.7% of all the tassels. That translates to 3 tassels per 1,000 plants. So you can only have 3 tassels in 1,000 plants. If you have more than that, the field does not pass, and we have to go through it again. So we'll have to go through it multiple times. So that's critical. So we concentrate on getting this row of plants all cleared of tassel, this row of plants all cleared of tassel, and so forth. So that's the sole purpose of us doing our job, okay? So that's the purpose of the job. Now, back to our sheet here, our information sheet. I'm going to go through what the responsibilities of the worker are. Okay, so that'd be you. So your responsibilities of the employee, make sure that every day we get your name on a timesheet. I have not come up with the exact way we're going to do that this year because of COVID-19, but the whole idea is that we have to get your name on a sheet like this, which is the daily attendance record. We get your we print your name, you sign it, and put your phone number here. So that tells me that you were in the field working, and you get paid for those hours that you were there. Okay, so prior years, what we used to do is just take a clipboard with this sheet on it, and we used to hand it out to the bus, and you pass it from one to the next, to the next, to the next, until that got filled. Now, because of COVID-19, I have to come up with a slightly different record or process, but the record, I still need to have this sheet filled out. Okay, so that's the number one thing, is you come to work, you got to get your name on the timesheet so you get paid for it. Okay, then next we'll go to this particular information sheet that you see here will be mailed to you or be emailed to you. When I say mail, I mean email. It'll be emailed to you, and I need it back, and I need it signed. This information card here needs to be signed, filled out, and signed by a parent or a guardian if you're 16 and under. If you're 16 or older, you can sign it yourself. Okay, so that's very important, because that proves to me that I've given you all the information, so you know who you work for, you know what's needed of you, and you know your pay rate, all that stuff. Okay, next, listen to and respect crew leaders and bus drivers. Critical. This is a job. It's not camp. It's not a day out. It's a job. Therefore, you have to listen to the people that are in charge, because they have a job to do themselves. Okay, an honest day's work is expected from you. Obvious. Again, I can't stress that enough. It's a job. I run a business. I need for you to come in, do your job like it's required. You get paid for it. And then when I finish my contract with a company, I get paid for it. Okay. So there's no horseplay. There's zero tolerance. There's no jokes, like jokes that are inappropriate. There is no touching. You keep your hands to yourself. You keep your things together. You don't touch other people's. They don't touch yours. Very, very important. No horseplay. There will be PPE. In the field, you will have a hat with a mesh and a visor, which is for most of you have seen this hat. So that has to be worn in the field. This mesh right here protects you from all kinds of stuff in the field. So this glasses, so these glasses, if you have glasses already, you don't have to wear these. But if you don't, you have to wear these as eye protection. And of course, gloves. So you'll have gloves also to wear. And this year we're going to insist, and we'll give you one having a bandana. So that will cover you like this. Okay. So that's the equipment that you'll have to wear in the field. On the bus, you'll have to put on, so for transportation purposes, what will happen is we'll give you either a surgical mask or a bandana like this. And then you put this shield on like that, right? So you have this underneath, that on top, and that's how you ride on the bus. Then when you go to the field, you take the shield off, and you just keep the bandana, put the hat on, put the glasses on, and to work we go. Okay, so that's the personal protective equipment, or PPE. Okay, so those terms are used interchangeably, PPE and personal protective equipment. Okay, and next, a social insurance number must be provided. So I need a valid social insurance number so I can pay you. Okay, so those are sort of the key points, the key highlights of your main responsibilities. Okay, a violation of any of the above is cause for dismissal. So very important. Next, some of the things that we further, well, not suggest, but another something that you need to do is you need to bring a lunch and a jug of water. Now this year, because of COVID-19, that water is, make sure you bring 4 liters of water, so you get a jug that you can get 4 liters in there, because unlike prior years, I am not allowed to give you water out of a big container. So for emergency purposes, I will have these small water bottles, the 500 milliliter, the small water bottles that come in a case of 24. So I'll have those for emergency only, but you need to have a nice supply of water. We recommend 4 liters. So you get a jug with 4 liters of water. Make sure that, because that's critical. With this heat, you need a lot of water. Proper clothing. Okay, clothing is critical. Let me go to the website and show you. So if you go to the website here, being prepared, and you'll see here. So the eye protection, the glasses we provide, the hat we provide. Then for the shirt, what I suggest is underneath have a nice white, light cotton shirt, just a simple white cotton shirt. And then on top of that, put a long sleeve cotton shirt, like one of your parents' dress shirts that is long sleeve. So it protects your arms from sunburn, from rashes, and so forth. And it keeps cool. And I will show you the first day how I wear mine. I don't button it up. I just do it up to here, button that, and then I leave the buttons open and I tie it around my waist. That keeps me cool and it protects my body. So in essence, there'll be no skin shown out in the field. That way you don't expose your skin to anything. You don't expose it to whether it's chemicals, weeds, and corn rash where the leaves cut your arms, that kind of thing. Next is pants. What we suggest very strongly is long pants. Get a material that's really light. You can look for it. You can even go to a thrift store, and a lot of times you can pick them up. They're cheap because then you use them for the season and then throw them out. But you need very light type of material. Jeans, you know, those heavy cotton sort of sweatpants are terrible because they get wet in the morning and then they just weigh you down and they get very, very uncomfortable. These here, they will get wet in the morning, but they dry very quickly and they're very light to carry. Again, make sure you go into the website and you take a look at this. For shoes, what we recommend, and please realize this is my 39th year doing this business. So I've been out in the field every day with the crews. I don't stay home and manage from home. I'm out in the field with you. And I found that the best thing to have is running shoes with a hard sole. So have a nice hard sole. Then you take those running shoes, you tie them nice and tight. Make sure you have cotton socks with you, nice cotton socks. You put those on, put the shoes on, tighten them snug. You can go through water, you can go through mud, and you shake it off and they dry very quickly. Okay, so very important. So, and then lastly, in the morning there's dew. And what I suggest is that you get a nice, very light rain jacket or something that repels rain. And that will keep you dry for the first hour and a half. Then you take it, that gets put on the bus, and then you're dry for the rest of the day. Okay. Other people, there's a lot of people that just get wet and they dry up quickly, but some people don't like getting wet in the morning. Okay. So that's for clothing. Very, very important, guys. Then be prepared for all types of outdoor weather. We're going to get heat. So have lots of water so we can stay on top of that. We're going to get wet. So, you know, have the proper clothing for that. And, you know, we've had years that we've gotten cold, but I don't foresee that this year. But be prepared for all kinds of weather. We'll get it. Outdoor work has a potential for bee stings or mosquitoes and so forth. If you're allergic to bee stings and if you carry an EpiPen, please let us know. Oh, by the way, is anybody here in the group that has been trained in CPR? Do you have your certification? If there's anybody, let me know, okay? Let me know and we'll talk later. Okay, wage information, your pay rate. So hourly rate is $14 per hour if you're 18 or older. Basically, it's minimum wage. If you're under 18, it's $13.15. Then there is a bonus. If you have perfect attendance, you get $1 more per hour. So that, and usually that works out to be a nice chunk of money at the end of the season if you have perfect attendance. If you miss one day for whatever reason it might be, then your bonus goes down to 50 cents, okay? One of the things that we did last year, and I'll probably try it again this year, is that I have a crew leader bonus. And top all this, I can do a crew leader bonus depending on the person. If I have somebody that's really outstanding in the field and they do really well and so forth, I might add some more money to that. Last year, I think the top that I gave just on that crew leader bonus, I think I was $200 and something. So that's up for grabs. But again, you know, I try to reward the people that do the work. Okay. Payment specifics. Hours are calculated by time spent in the field. You don't get paid for your travel time. You don't get paid for your lunch, which usually is half an hour. You do get paid for your morning break and your afternoon break. Okay, so the breaks are paid for. The lunch isn't, travel time isn't. Typically at the end of the season, we go to Kenatera Park and we spend a day out there and have fun. We provide the food, the drinks, and we play soccer, frisbee, football. We have a good time. This year, due to COVID-19, I don't know what will happen. So I think things will get better, but who knows? So that's on there. I'm going to go through the other sheet to make sure I didn't miss anything. So job purpose, code of conduct, we talked about layoff procedures, outhouses. Oh, so every field comes with a washroom. So in this year, they're going to be cleaned twice as much, again, because of COVID-19, but there'll be a porta-john in every field that we go to. So which is wonderful. Emergency weather procedures. If, again, I have a cell phone which has an application on it. It's a weather application. If there are any storms or any tornado warnings, I get them on the phone. And if one happens to be near us or I get a warning, then what I do is I have a air horn, which I will blow 3 times, right? So I'll blow it 3 times. And if you hear that, you stop whatever you do, no matter where you are in the field, you stop what you're doing and you come back to the bus. Okay, so in case of emergencies, the meeting place is the bus. Okay, the air horn will go out 3 times. I'll blow it 3 times. Then you stop what you're doing and come back to the bus. Very, very important. That's an emergency weather procedure, but it's also any kind of an emergency. If you hear that air horn go out 3 times, stop what you're doing, come back to the bus. Okay. Personal protective equipment requirements. We talked about that. We do suggest that you put sunscreen on your face and neck, so that will help. Hours of work. One of the things that we know the starting time, but the finishing time is always difficult. So we'll start, and those starting times are on the website. They might change slightly, but they're there. First day is going to be a little more chaotic, but going on forward from the first day, they should be pretty standard. The finish time is difficult because depending on the size of field that we have to do that day, depending on the size of crew that I have that day, depending on the weather, depending how well the machine did it, dictates when we finish. Okay, I try not to be later than 4:30, 5 o'clock. That's the latest I like to go. I don't like to go past that, but usually, typically, it's earlier than that we finish. Okay. Vehicle safety, of course, we have buses run by bus drivers that do school bus runs, so they're as safe as you're going to get them. Field entry, this is another key point, folks, and I want you to remember that. To enter every field that we go to, when we go into the main entrance, there will be a sign that looks like this. Okay, there'll be a sign that looks like this. Now, if it's open like this, then we're not supposed to go in. It's danger, pesticides, keep out. Okay, so that's clear, very, very clear. If the sign at the entrance, at the main entrance of the field is open like that, we do not enter. However, if the sign is closed like this, then we're allowed to go in. Okay, very, very important. Let me see, go back to here. Let's see what we have. Field entry, general housekeeping. Well, there's no house to keep. First aid, we talked about that. I'm first aid certified. Like I said before, if there's any of you that have the first aid certification, please let me know. Accident reporting, if any accident happens on the bus, in the field, around me, around the crew, make sure I get notified right away, immediately, because then there's several people that I have to sort of escalate up the line. And also, of course, I have to assess the situation to see if I need to do any kind of first aid treatment. Pesticide safety, we talked about it. Those signs are warning signs. The other is if we wear the long sleeve shirts, if we wear the long pants, then we're protected against pesticides even more, okay? So that's a lot of information there. Let me just finish off by going back to the website and some of the things that I want to cover. First of all, I'd suggest that you go through the website. It's not very big. There's, you know, it might take you 15 minutes to go through, but read it all, because it gives you, it reiterates what I went through. And also these informational videos are very, very good. For example, you know, one of the questions that I get is, well, Dom, how do you know which ones are females, which ones are males? To begin with, starting 3 years ago, the company started marking the males with a red tag. So there'll be a tag on them to say it's a male. But in addition to that, they are planted sort of differently. Let me see here. So if you see here, let me play that video for you a little bit. We're a child of the sun and the sky and the here, let's. So as you, okay, so if let me show you. So you see here, when the corn's planted, you can see the females here. So they're planted very differently. They're planted in a pattern that it becomes pretty obvious, right? So you've got 4 females, 1 male, 4 females, 1 male. And as you go forward and you see the corn grow, see here you can tell still the difference. There's the male bigger than the female. Not all the time, but they're planted in a certain pattern. So it's pretty obvious. So we have to do this row, this row, this row, this row, and all the female rows. And remember what I said, in 1,000 plants, we can't have any more than 3 tassels. Otherwise, the field doesn't pass and we have to go through it again. Okay, so then the corn grows. And as it gets taller, now here, it's pretty difficult to tell. Another telltale sign of what is male, what is female is when the machine goes through it, it only detassels the female. It doesn't detassel the male. So then you can tell what the machine chopped up is a female. What the machine didn't touch, it's a male. So. Then we go in with the crew and finish it up to get it to the 99.7. In this video here, you'll see a mechanical harvester that will do it. So you can see that mechanical harvester will go through, and this year they're going to try to get it to 99 point something, right? So it's going through, it's chopping all the females out, taking the tassels off the female. So it does a good, but they're going to try to do 90%, right? So our job is to do a lot of walking. So it'll be a lot of walking. So you have to dress properly for it. You have to be dressed to handle the heat. You have to be prepared for that. Okay, and then my motivation is, like possibly yours is, at the end of the season, you get a nice fat check. Last year, the checks for everybody that worked the whole season were up in the high teens. And I think I had one, he was a team leader and crew leader. He ended up with, I think, $2,200, $2,300. You know, that was for 20 days. So not bad. Okay. Again, I can't emphasize enough, go through the website and go through the videos. Okay, I think, oh, just one more thing. So there's one more general Zoom training meeting, which happens tomorrow. Then for next week, I will send out invites to people that I will start on the first day. And those people will have another Zoom meeting next week. and I will go through a lot of details on COVID-19 and how do we load the buses and so on and so forth, okay? So there'll be a lot more detail in regards to COVID-19, and I might cover some of these general points, okay? But that one will be an invite, which people have to register for. So if people, so as they register, I will be accepting those and sending them out an invitation, okay? A link to a Zoom meeting. Any questions? If you have a question, unmute your mic and then just ask the question so everybody can hear it. Any? Oops. Okay, guys, if there are no questions, we're done. Okay. So make sure, oh, one more thing. I almost forgot. There is an issue with Hotmail accounts. I haven't deciphered what the problem is, but some people that have Hotmail accounts, when I send out an email, they don't get it. Now, I don't know why that is. I'm working on it, but I haven't found a solution. So if you have a Hotmail account, you might not be getting all my emails. Suggestion number one is see if you can get a Gmail account and send me that update. Two, I'm working on it to see if I can correct the issue. If I can, fantastic. If I can't, then I need you guys to do that. Okay? And oh, one more item. This, if you look at the share screen in the news tab, okay, that's the primary way that I communicate with the crew. So I will put all the news items on here, right? I also use the other social media platforms. I use Facebook, so I have a Facebook page that I also put news there, but they'll be the same, of course. I'll start from here, and then I go Facebook, and then I go Twitter. Now, in the Twitter account, one of the questions that I had in a meeting yesterday was, how do we know when we're done from a parent perspective? So if parent is picking you up, what I suggest is you get them a Twitter account, make sure they have that Twitter account. I will send a tweet when the bus is done. So let's say we finish at 3 o'clock. I will send a tweet through my Twitter account that says bus finished at 3 o'clock. The parent will know that the bus will be in sign-in within the hour. So they know when to pick you up, okay? So that's the best way. That's the only way I could mitigate the lack of knowledge when we finish, okay? So pass that on to your parents if they're picking you up and dropping you off. And if they don't know how to create a Twitter account, I'm sure you guys do, and you show them and help them do that, okay? And I think that's it, 10:33, so 3 minutes over, but that's pretty good. Any questions again, guys? Okay, thanks for spending the time with us, and we'll see you on the cornfields.